Welcome to Acupressure Yoga. Today's class starts in child's pose. Make yourself as comfortable as you can here. Make sure there's no pinching in the shoulders and there's no pain in the knees. So make sure you prop yourself up in a way that supports these joints. And then start to immediately tap into those long and deep inhales and exhales, making the sits bones and the hips nice and heavy as they move down towards the heels. Just using these few moments to arrive on our mat, take a few full deep breaths, and prepare ourselves for our practice. Fill the belly with air, press the belly button between the thighs, and then exhale completely and get ready to move into our first acupressure point. So we're still in our child's pose, but we're going to grab our ball and place it about halfway down the lower leg. Make sure this is in the middle line, the center line, so not close to the inside line of the leg or the outside line. And once you feel this point, you will know it. So play around with it. It might be a little bit higher. It might be a little bit lower. But we're targeting 2 acupressure points here into the hamstring and into the calf muscle. But the area that will be feeling this the most is likely the calf muscle, as it's quite sensitive in this position. So I've placed the yellow block in between my right calf and my right hamstring, and I'm starting to stimulate the point on the left side. If you're on the opposite side, just take note and make sure that you move opposite as we practice. It makes no difference. I'm just on the side facing the camera. As you take a few deep breaths, you notice you can start to relax a little bit more. The pain maybe begins to dissipate, or the discomfort starts to lessen on the point stimulated by our acupressure ball. And we can really relax into our child's pose here. Again, making sure that there's no pressure into the shoulders. Of course, the less props that you're using, the closer to the ground you're moving and the more pressure you're applying to the ball. All your choice in this practice. Deep inhale and exhale for the last bit of stimulation. And of course, stay in these poses, these shapes, and with the stimulation as long as you like. But otherwise, we're going to come up into a tabletop, extend the left leg, power through the left heel, make sure that that right knee is underneath the right hip, and level out the hips and feel that stretch into the back line of the calf. You can move front and back, or just keep pressing that heel backwards, release the top of the right foot. Whatever feels stable for you and comfortable in your right knee. Remember to pad the knees as you need to. And then inhale and exhale, we're going to come to our next point. So instead of being in the middle of the calf, we're going to come closer to the back of the knee. And these points were very sensitive for me. So you can see I'm stacking myself quite high away from the ground. And this is to control the amount of pressure I'm giving the ball. And immediately working into those long, deep inhales and exhales. Quality breath can be up to 10 seconds. Make adjustments as you need. I've changed the height of the block, and I've stacked my pink block quite close to my right knee as well on the opposite side. So the ball's higher up on the calf, and we're closer to the points now known as the body's second heart. So in traditional Chinese medicine, this theory speaks about there being a second heart in the lower extremities, and this is responsible for making sure that there's healthy circulation here, and also keeping the veins and arteries healthy, young, supple, elasticated, and also releasing any tension in the back line of the body. So this is going to relieve tension in your lower back, but it's also going to relieve any tension in the calf muscles that you may be feeling, give you some relief from cramping. Take your last few breaths, inhale and exhale, same thing. We're going to extend that left leg. That's the side that we've been stimulating with the ball. And then we're going to power through and give ourselves that calf stretch as feels good for us. Make your adjustments and make sure your alignment is correct. Hands underneath the shoulders, right knee underneath the right hip. And of course, take the stretch and take the stimulation of these points for as long as you need to. You can always pause this video and give yourself a little bit more time, but notice the alternating structure of how we practice. We stimulate in child's pose, then we take our extension, we stimulate in child's pose again, take our extension again, and then come into child's pose just to rest. So notice that space behind the left leg now that had the ball pressure on it previously. And now just notice how good it feels to let the back of the hamstring touch the calf muscle without the stimulation of the ball. Notice any subtle changes between the left and right side as we continue to practice. I'm a big advocate for building this awareness in the body, as you will know if you've been practicing with me for a while. Inhale and exhale, we're going to come into a transition and we're going to come into a curtsy child's pose or curtsy squat. So this is extending the left leg out to the same line, in the same line as the left hip. And I'm just experiencing a bit of pressure on my right knee and shin, and I want to give myself some relief, so I fold my mat over. So the sole of my foot is flat in this position. And we're going to alternate either with the toes facing the sky or with the sole flat and the toes facing in the same direction as the head. But either way, we want to free up this inner line of the leg. You also might be getting a bit of a stretch into the back of the calf muscle. But I was feeling this quite intensely on the inside of my thigh and the inside seam of my leg as well. An important energy channel or several energy channels in the legs that are responsible for making sure that there is good circulation and freedom of movement and injury prevention in the major joints like the hip and the knees. So we just want to give ourselves some time here to let that extension happen in the inner seam of the leg or wherever you might be feeling the stretch. Take a deep inhale and exhale here and get ready for the transition. So I'm just showing you here as my toes come towards the ceiling. And then I relax the foot. So this encourages more of an external rotation at the hip, whereas with the foot flat, we had more of an internal rotation at the hip. So it might change the position of the stretch, and notice maybe this moves more behind the calf muscle now and behind the hamstring. But either way, we want to melt over onto our right thigh, level out the shoulders as much as we can, and use the supports of the block to make sure there's no tension in the neck and shoulders. A few more deep breaths here again. I know that I mention this a lot in my classes, but the upper leg muscles are very big sheets of muscle, but also very big sheets of interconnective tissue. So they take some time to respond. This is why we spend a bit of time here, breathing deeply and just feeling into that stretch. Be aware of where you feel the stretch originating. In this pose, it could feel like it's coming out of your lower abdomen, out of your internal reproductive organs, and then down the leg. Take your time to transition, lift yourself up, and just pause in your comfortable version of your child's pose. A few moments of silence here, just to honor the body as it takes a new shape, and also to give yourself a little bit of space and time to feel what is coming up when you stimulate these acupressure points. So even though these are on a different channel, they're not on the heart channel. These points on the calves and the hamstrings, they're on your bladder meridian, your bladder energy channel. They're not on the heart channel. We know that from the theory there is smaller circulations between all of the channels of the body, which connects them all. So everything is connected. And this is why sometimes touching a point that's far away from the heart is good for the heart. I'm going to give myself a bit of space. We're staying on the same leg, on the same side. I'm going to keep practicing with the left leg. I'm going to come into a seated forward fold. This time with my right leg bent and the sole of my right foot touching the inside of my left leg. And I'm just going to come over using my block and allowing that stretch now on the back line of the body. Inhale and exhale into the back line of the body in the shape. Try to level out the shoulders and the hips. You can massage the third eye, that space between the brows on the block, by rolling the head left and right. And then make sure that you check in and relax the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips, lower, middle, upper back, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips, all the muscles of the face. Inhale nice and deep into the back line of the body. Exhale completely. We're going to grab our ball and massage these same points again. So this one is about halfway between the knee and the ankle, and it's in the center line. You can do a few movements backwards and forwards to massage the entire line of the calf now. This can also help you explore and find that most critical point, that most sensitive point that needs your attention in this practice today. It might be closer to the ankle, it might be closer to the knee. Make sure to feel into your body. Use the props as you need them. Blocks are so amazing. Amazing what just 2 blocks can do for a practice. And make sure you make adjustments as you inhale and exhale and stimulate this point. So on my left side now, I wanted a little bit more pressure into the calf, and I have access to the flexibility in the back line of my leg. So be mindful as you move into a shape like this and practice with where it's going to feel comfortable to have the prop. You've got knee injuries, maybe you don't want to be applying weight onto the knee. But this felt good and light enough with the foam block just above or on my knee joint, on the fleshy part above my knee. And then resting my head onto the block. I wanted a different sensation. I wanted more massage. So I changed the elevation of my leg and used my props in a different way on the same point, on the same stimulation point. Make sure you've placed the ball in such a way, the ball and the block in such a way that you can balance here. Here's also another variation. I wanted support under my heel. And as I was breathing, the back line of my body was starting to open up a little bit more. So I took the shape a little bit deeper and just relaxed my entire upper body over my left leg. Inhale and exhale as deeply as possible, focusing on that back line of the body. Maybe when you inhale, you focus on the breathing or the air that moves into the body for the breathing through the nostril, the back of the nose, the back of the throat, down into the back line of the body, the back of the lungs, located closely, the back of the ribs, in the upper back, middle back, lower back. And then you fill the belly with air. And then exhale, it follows the same pathway. Let's get ready to do our transition. Take your time, no rush here. I grab the ball first and move that out of the way. And then I stay in my sequence of practice, stimulation, and then the shape without stimulation on those acupressure points. Take your time. Let's move into our next acupressure point. So we're staying in this shape and getting into the hamstring. So